Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. I purposefully ruined my cousin and ex's wedding, and it's brought me a lot of happiness. I once looked up to my cousin. I thought he was a great guy, and we were close like brothers. I was also dating a girl. I was deeply in love with her and planned to marry her someday. I thought my life was perfect. One day I came home early because a colleague offered to cover my shift. I was pretty tired, so I accepted and went home. Arriving home, I found them in my bed, having sex. Both of them were shocked, to say the least. I told them I wanted them to be gone by the time I got back and left the house. They were gone by the time I did get back, but she left me a note telling me she was sorry and to call her when I'd calmed down. I didn't call her. I texted her saying that I'd gather her things and drop them off at cousin's in a few days and that she's staying with him now, not me. I followed through with that. It took about a week to transfer everything. Both of them tried to apologize, but I didn't have anything nice to say to them, so I said nothing. I just knocked on the door and handed the bags to whoever answered before leaving. My cousin called me multiple times to try to apologize, but I refused to accept it. 3 years have passed since then. I went no contact with them. I didn't bring it up to the rest of my family or any of their friends. I'm not sure why. I just didn't. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize, so I answered. It was my cousin. He sounded really happy and was acting like he hadn't destroyed my life. He explained he and my ex were getting married and he wanted me to be his best man. I was so angry that he had the utter gall to act like nothing was wrong and lost my temper. I yelled at him and called him names before hanging up. He sent me a text telling me the offer still stood, and if I didn't want to be his best man, then he just simply wouldn't have won. A few days passed by and I had an idea. I texted him back and apologized. I sent a paragraph of bullshit saying I was still angry, but this could be an opportunity for the three of us to heal and move past it. He was overjoyed and said he'd pay for everything and he'd help me pick out a suit if I wanted, which I accepted because I sure as shit wasn't going to spend any money on his stupid wedding if I could help it. The wedding day came. I had spent the week prior writing a speech, putting all the negative feelings that had bottled up over the years into words on paper. The wedding was pretty good. I'm sure one of them has some nice well-paying job or something, because they must have spent a decent bit of money on this wedding from how nice it was. Our entire family was there, as was a decent chunk of my ex's family. Eventually the time for my speech came. I just remember feeling really nervous as it built up to it, and my voice kept faltering when I was reading it out, but I didn't and still don't care. At least I got it out. I explained what these two horrible people had done to me. I called them the worst names I could think of and wished them the worst. Then I left. I was expecting some kind of dramatic moment from all the guests, gasps of shock and all that, but there was none of that. Everyone was silent. On my way home I got a call from my mother angrily telling me that I'd ruined the wedding, and both of them were so upset, and she asked me why I do this. I told her that they deserved it for what they'd done to me and everything I'd said in the speech was true. She kept defending them, so I swore at her and hung up. Since then I've gotten several calls and texts from others in mine and my ex's family angry I ruined the wedding. I've also received a few texts from people who were there being supportive and telling me they were there if I needed to talk. I'm not sure if I feel better having done this, but it did bring me great catharsis when people were telling me the wedding was ruined. At least now they've felt at the very least a fraction of what they've made me feel. Just a little edit to address some common questions. As far as I'm aware, the rest of the family wasn't aware of her cheating on me. They likely knew we were dating at some point, then we weren't. I've learned from previous stuff that I can't rely on my family for any kind of support, so I've been on low contact with them since I moved out of my parents' house, which is why I didn't mention this to anyone in my family. A lot of people are also asking for the speech transcript. I wrote it in a Google Doc and read it out from my phone. The delivery was kinda lackluster. I sounded like I was going to cry and tripped over my words, but I managed to read it all out. It isn't verbatim what I said, but it's very close as I was reading from this as a general script. Hello everyone. I'm not very good at public speaking, so apologies in advance. It's an honor to be at this wedding, and an even greater honor to be the best man. I was shocked that I was even invited at all, since the last time I'd spoken to the bride and groom was when I'd found them ducking in my own bed. X's name was my partner at the time, you see, but I don't think she got the memo that when you're dating someone you don't duck their cousin in your partner's own bed. And it wasn't like cousin's name didn't know we were dating either. Who knows how long this slimy CNT was ducking her behind my back? Weeks? Months? For those unaware, X and I had been dating for 2 years. I loved her with all my heart, and was actually saving up to get a proposal ring. Maybe if X wasn't such a whore, cousin would be giving this speech instead, and I wouldn't have been struggling with mental health for 3 years. Anyway, I've heard 50% of marriages end in divorce. I hope yours is a messy one. From the bottom of my heart, duck you both. You ruined my life, and I will never forgive either of you. Lol, that's savage. Honestly, what did they expect you to do except the fact that he stabbed that knife in your back and basically causes you so much anguish and hurt? I'm amazed they were stupid enough to invite you. Not just invite him, ask him to be best man? Like when I read the title and started reading, I thought the cousin was marrying some other girl. Not. Hi, X. I'm happy you ruined their wedding, lol. I got mad reading this. I'm almost impressed at the gall they have to do something so unbelievably shitty, evil and callous. Like they didn't even give a shit -- they wanted to rub his face in it, gloat about it, show it off. Normally I wouldn't condone this type of petty revenge. But in this case, I am 100% for it. Duck them. And while you're at it, duck all the family members who are defending them. Go no contact with every single one of them. If not for the fact that they are defending your shitty cousin and your ex. Go no contact with them for the fact that they saw you were with your ex, saw that you suddenly weren't with her, and then couldn't be ducked to ask for details and at least check up on you to see how you're doing. That literally takes only a few minutes, very simple text message or anything. If they had done that at least, then they would have known what she did to you. But they couldn't even bother to do that because they didn't care enough. Duck them all. I think they probably knew it looked shady in the first place and thought having him as a best man would put that to bed. I had not had that thought. You're probably right though. Good call. So in my experience, people tend to get very angry when you choose a public special occasion to air your grievances with a person, and then double that if the occasion features the person with whom you're aggrieved. So like the person's wedding or the person's funeral are the absolute worst, and I know this because apparently it's not okay to remind everyone that the deceased was a ducking bastard by all accounts, and why are they all suddenly acting like he was a ducking saint just because he's dead? And I'm still wondering why we bothered to claim his body from the morgue and didn't say sorry, wrong number, and hang up when they called. Anyway, my very kind aunt explained that at the funeral home and in front of everyone was not the correct venue, even though she agreed everything I said was 100% true and accurate. I loved Op's speech personally. No, duck those people who believe in decorum. They just want to make a show to the public and pretend like their relatives aren't awful. Ducking phonies. I'm sick of people that constantly feel the need to keep up appearances. Agree with you 100%. An update. Hey. It's been a while, a lot has happened. I haven't logged into Reddit other than to look at any messages I've gotten whenever I see the notification in my email. It has helped, and it's good to know that people still think about me all this time later after reading words on a screen. Hell, the most recent private message I got was 4 hours ago as of typing this, and the most recent notification on my post was 10 minutes ago. I haven't responded to any because I don't really know how to begin doing so. I'd feel bad just giving a short thank you, and I'm not really creative enough to come up with over 20 good responses. I do greatly appreciate the supportive words though. Some stuff has happened since the whole mess that was my cousin's wedding. My mum tried to talk to me, said she saw the post I'd made. I pushed her away for a few days before finally speaking to her. I'm struggling to find words to describe how things worked out between us. The easiest way to explain it is that we agreed to disagree on whether what I'd done was correct. I got a mix of messages from those who were present at the wedding, some supportive, some telling me off. I was struggling a lot. I've just gone back to simply functioning, like I was before the wedding, after I came down from getting my own back. I don't at all regret what I did and I still feel satisfied that I got payback. I was making plans to take my own life about a month after the wedding. I hadn't told anyone for obvious reasons, but my mum, uncle and cousin, the same cousin whose wedding I ruined, came to me and told me they'd pay for a private counsellor since the mental health department of the NHS is under-equipped to say the least. I went to therapy. Found a counsellor who was very helpful. He taught me a lot. I got diagnosed with PTSD, caused by the discovery of the affair. He's been a big help and has encouraged me to give casual dating a try to build confidence in myself and get used to rejection as a normal part of life. I signed up to a few dating sites, although I'm avoiding Tinder like the plague. My counselor specifically suggested I stay as far away from Tinder as I possibly can. I've not been very successful in that avenue, but it's pretty much in line with what I was expecting. I've talked to a few people and even got a date scheduled, but she stood me up and ghosted me, which hurt. I'm doing well though. Much better. I don't have suicidal thoughts very often anymore. Whenever I'm feeling especially crap, I like to open up Reddit and read your supportive messages. That's all for now. I'll probably start using this account on a more regular basis, so you may see more of me. Hey, man, I'm 15, but it's good you're focusing on yourself, and remember, you always be loved no matter what. Plus you will find a partner one day when the time is right, but for now focus on your mental health. P.S. Sorry for my grammar. Hey man, massive support, but whatever you do, do not be friendly, cordial, or even remotely receptive to your cousin as long as you live. The type of person that arrogant bastard is will feel vindicated. That's why he offered to help. The guilt he feels will weigh on him till he feels you've forgiven him. Never give him that satisfaction. That guilt will weigh on him and their marriage and destroy them. If you truly want to make them feel your pain, let them rot like the trash they are. I don't know how many times I've told people, the right person will come when you least expect it. Just get out there and socialize a little. It sounds like you've got stuck in a routine. Break it up and go somewhere different. PTSD is no joke, and I'm glad you're seeing someone for it. Hello stranger, betrayal sucks and worse coming from people we love, but there's always a light at the end of a tunnel, trust me. We're here to support you, and if you need a random stranger to talk to, I'm here XOXO. Only posting another comment to give you this link, down pointing finger, down pointing finger, down pointing finger, down pointing finger. I hope you will read it. This guy was in a similar situation as you are. His GF also cheated on him with his cousin. He turned his life around. I hope you will too. The best revenge is living your best life. Apart from therapy, I suggest you go on vacation once in a while. Find new hobbies. Or maybe just talk to people outside your circle. And maybe make some changes in your diet and eat healthy food. I hope you heal better. I hope the next time you post we will hear some good news. 2 hearts, 2 hearts, 2 hearts. Oh, and, ops mom, if you are reading this, just so you know, you have failed as a mother. When your son was vulnerable and needed help, you shunned him. You tried to defend his cousin even after knowing what he did to your son. Your actions were playing a catalyst on his attempt to suicide as well, and you still continue to take that cousin's side. You should be ashamed of yourself. You chose your family's reputation over your son's life. Shame on you. I hope you will learn better to support your son than to support those who deeply wounded him. And to the cousin and his wife, duck you. Your wife is a slut. Remember, if she can cheat with you, she can also cheat on you. I hope karma hits both of you so badly that it crushes you. Another update. Hey friends. I'm still getting DMs asking for updates and the like, and honestly, I'm still baffled people care enough to ask. I do read your DMs. I've not responded to any because it's a little overwhelming. I've had over 70 people DM me now, all but 2 of whom were sending me messages of love and support. I really appreciate it, and I'm sorry for not responding. Like I said, it's just overwhelming. I might go through and respond someday. For now, I just open up my Reddit and read the messages whenever I'm feeling down or generally just struggling to think positively. It really helps. Anyway, onto the update. Not a lot to update really. Not had much luck with the dating, so I gave up. I finally went on a date with 2 separate girls, but neither of them were my type, so I didn't arrange for a second date with either. The first constantly talked about her ex and how much of an asshole he was. Obviously I can relate pretty hard, but it just gave me the impression that she hadn't moved on from him. After we'd finished our date, I walked her home and she offered for me to come inside and watch a movie with her. I declined and lied, saying I needed to go home and feed my cat. I don't have a cat right now, and she seemed to buy it. I felt bad for turning her down, and I hope she finds someone who will treat her well. She seemed like a sweet girl, but she's just hung up on a toxic ex. The second girl was just painfully boring. She constantly talked about Love Island, I'm a Celeb, and a few other shows I can't remember the name of. I faked an emergency just to get out of it because 5 minutes with this woman felt like several decades. Other than that, no bites. And that's fine. My counselor said that if using those sites feels like a chore, then I should stop using them, and it felt like a chore, so I stopped. There's been quite a few common questions in my DMs, so I'll respond to them here. Q, how are you holding up? A, I'm doing great, all things considered. I have dark thoughts from time to time, but I've no intention to act on them. My counselor is a massive help. He's taught me a lot of coping mechanisms and has helped boost my confidence from non-existent to probably a bit above average. Q, hey, did you know your story was shared on YouTube/TikTok? A, sort of. I've seen the videos you've linked to me, which was the same TikTok video, but not the ones on YouTube or any other platforms it may have been shared to. I'm surprised it's gotten this big TBH lol. But I'm aware now because you've told me. Q, have you spoken with your ex at all since the wedding? A, only when I've been to my cousin's house to visit with my mum, which is infrequent. I don't speak to either of them much. My mum just insists I visit him since he's paying for my therapy. I think she's trying to somehow repair our relationships, but once I'm well enough to not need therapy anymore, I'm going to go no contact with all of them and move to a different city. Q, continued from the previous question, if you do speak to your ex and or cousin, what do they say? A, anything that isn't related to the wedding or ducking each other in my bed. They do everything in their power to avoid talking about anything even tangentially related to those things. If you have additional questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll try to answer them if I see them. You know you can go no contact with them now? He's paying for your therapy out of guilt, and perhaps he should be. You don't owe him more than anything. You owe it to yourself to be in the best possible place physically and mentally that you can. Good luck moving forward. Bro. I am so glad you are doing great. I am clearly on board with the decision of you going North Carolina with your cousin. That's the least he can do after what kind of scummy thing he did. I hope it drains his paycheck. And please don't listen to your mom into having a relationship with your idiot cousin and his SLUT. You don't need to bond with them, and strictly tell your mother that she should respect your decision about what kind of relationship you want with your cousin. Don't let them manipulate you. Your mom just wants to play house and pretend that everything is fine. I agree. Maybe you are still not ready to date just yet. You need to focus on your healing. That's the important thing right now. Dating can wait. You are young, I suppose. So don't worry about that right now. One thing at a time. Healing starts with baby steps. Take those steps towards a person who is no longer haunted by his demons. NGL, I also have a lot of dark thoughts. There was one time I was looking at the ceiling fan and thought about hanging myself because my life was a mess. But I made a board on my wall about the things I want to achieve. Whenever I feel down or have dark raging thoughts, I look at the board and read all the things and the last line, "You cannot die before this." It helped me a lot. Also, I became closer to some of the people I was very distant with due to my crappy mental health. It helped me cope with my inner pain. So, I would like to advise you to do the same. Keep in touch with people you know will listen to you or help you. Go on trips if you can afford it. Maybe I have good hobbies. I don't know how much it will help you, but it's worth a try. And I know in your mind you are wondering why they have a better life than you. Trust me. They don't. They have guilt in their heart that's going to eat them slowly for the rest of their life. Your cousin is married to a slut and a cheater. So she is no prize. Your cousin got your sloppy seconds like a worn-out t-shirt. Buddy, keep going on. I am sure you will find light at the end of the tunnel. Your life is so much worth it. Don't waste it because two lowlives stabbed you. A warrior's worth is determined by the scars he has because it indicates he escaped and beat death. You are that. And lastly, how are you? Are you feeling better? Does your cousin expect you to some kind of relationship with him or forgive him because he's paying for your therapy? Do you worry that he'll stop paying for therapy if you're not well in his eyes / aren't willing to forgive him, etc.? I'm glad you've got a good counselor, but I'm worried that since it's being financed by your betrayer that there will be some strings attached. I'm sorry for what happened to you. I really wonder how their marriage will turn out, because if they're willing to cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. Anyway, that's not your concern. Yours is healing and living an awesome life. I honestly have no clue what he wants in terms of a relationship. I'm gonna ask next time I see him. I do worry he'll stop paying for therapy if I go no contact with him and the rest of my family. They said to me that I need to try and get better, and it took a big argument with them for me to get a new counselor when the first one basically kept implying I did something to cause my ex to cheat on me. Second one was the one I'm currently with, and he's pretty impartial. No judgment, he offers criticism when it's warranted and it's constructive, not accusatory. How do you know for sure that the therapist is on your side? Your cousin is pay for therapy, so what guarantee is there he didn't buy your therapist into manipulating you? Why are you visiting letting your mother force you to see them? You're an adult. How do you know that this won't be held against you? Guilting you into being in their presence for paying for you? They'll make you feel like you owe them. They don't feel guilty, just want to look good in public and say that they paid for your therapy, so it's all good now. Why can't you go North Carolina now? You don't need a mother like that. I picked him. I had a therapist before him, a lady who basically kept implying I did something to drive my ex into my cousin's arms and various other accusatory shit I wasn't impressed with. My current therapist kinda criticized me for ruining the wedding, but he didn't shame me for it, and he's actually teaching me coping mechanisms. I'm not going no contact in case they stop paying for my therapy. And they probably will try to use it against me, but that's fine. I'll duck off to another city and never see them again. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.